Bedlam at the bank is back. The fighting Phils took it to the Arizona Diamondbacks last night, game one of the NLCS. So, yes, we are a Philadelphia sports podcast. Yes, we talk all Philly sports. So, with all the positivity with the Phillies right now, this is your last chance to bitch and moan about the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll talk one more time about their loss on Sunday today, and obviously a lot about the fighting Phils as well. Trending in the AM, right here on Philadelphia Sports Network, live with your comments, thoughts, and opinions, right here in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Click any and every button you can. It's greatly appreciated. It helps the algorithm, helps us continue to grow this great show. So it's free to do it. You hit those buttons. You like whatever you can. You share it out wherever you can. And we keep going because this is the only morning show. This is the only sports show, period, where your opinions actually matter. And yes, we are going to ring that freaking bell all morning long. Good morning, Adam. 3 more wins and back in the World Series. I like that. 3 more wins. Everyone keeps saying 7 more wins. No. We got to get to the World Series first. So 3 more wins to the World Series. Then we can count the final 4. I guess this means we have to talk baseball. We don't have to talk a lot of baseball today, K1. We don't. I actually want to use this show as your final chance to get anything off your chest about the Philadelphia Eagles as well. We are going to talk the Phillies, obviously. You can't not talk the Phillies when they're game 1 winners in the NLCS. But with that positivity, I got to get rid of all that negative Eagles energy. So this is everybody's last chance to get the negative energy from this Philadelphia Eagles out. It's 8:02. Is it time to wrap the show up already? I guess it's still good value. I was on time. My clock says 8:02 there, and I've been live for 2 minutes. So I was on time. Don't you dare question my timeliness. I'm always on time for everything. But anyway, yes. So the Eagles lost on Sunday. The Phillies win on Monday night. The positivity coming out of Philadelphia for that Phillies win is huge. But there's still so much negativity circulating because of one Eagles loss. And yes, it was a bad loss. There's a lot of negativity around it. I got a poll question that I've got out on Twitter. I've got it out on the YouTube poll section as well. A couple hundred votes. We're going to get into that. It's about the blame game. And the fact that the blame game, there's nobody in Philadelphia playing the blame game with the Eagles. But yet, all the media is pointing fingers and instigating the fan base. Yes, the fan base is being instigated and forced to pick sides on who's to blame. And I kind of feel like it's unnecessary. We could discuss what went wrong. We could try to find out how we can make it better. But I don't think there's blame to go on any one person. And when I give you the poll results and how adamant people are about their answers, it's kind of shocking to me. It really is. I like Kyle Schwarber. He has been up there anyways. Might as well get rid. I like Kyle Schwarber. He has to be up there anyways. Might as well get rid of it. I don't know about what you mean with the get rid of it, but Kyle Schwarber, man, proves how little I know about baseball. Because I've been saying for 2 years he shouldn't be the leadoff hitter. And yet every time I say that, he comes up, leads off. First pitch home run last night. Great way to set the tone last night. Monster. Michael, what's up, my man? As an Eagles fan, I'm ready. Already in Miami mode. And that's the thing, Michael. Today's the last day. Normally I go through Wednesday on recapping and talking past. Today's it. Starting tomorrow, we're moving on to the future. Today's the last day to dwell on the loss, Michael. And I'm like you. I'm ready for Miami. I'm ready to see what we've got to do to be a better football team so that we can beat Miami. And I think we can beat Miami. I know Miami has a prolific offense, but Miami hasn't faced a prolific defense like the Eagles. And for all the negativity surrounding the Eagles, there is nowhere near enough credit being given to the Eagles' defense for how they've performed. Yeah, they gave up 20 points against the Jets. The last 7 points, or 8 points, whatever. Let's be honest. They let them score that last touchdown to get the ball back in Jalen's hands. So really, the defense gave up 14 points. Well, 12 points on Sunday, realistically speaking. So this defense, being as shorthanded as it is, being as banged up as it is, has played really damn well. And I don't think Sean Desai and the defense is getting enough credit. Yeah, Josh Joby, Goodrich, some of these safeties and cornerbacks that are filling in for the injuries aren't really what they should be. But, I mean, they're holding their own. I mean, that you've got some USFL level talent out there on defense, basically. Some college level talent out there on defense. And you're still holding opponents in check. It's the offense that was the problem on Sunday and recently. Nick, what's up, my man? The fans understand it's a team game and know there has to be more than one mistake. That's the thing. Like, I don't think, Nick, I don't agree. Like, I think the fans are being instigated by the media. I mean, there was a media member yesterday, I forget who it was, national media member, saying that, Jalen Hurts played like a rookie. Like, first off, Jalen Hurts, is 5-1 this year. He's 22-2 in his last 24 starts. Let's give the kid a little credit here. He lost 2 games in the regular season in the last year and a half. Come on now. Can a guy lose a game? And then there's people saying it's, talking about his regression and how bad he is. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of people in these polls I run that blame Jalen Hurts. And there is some blame to go to Jalen Hurts. And somebody yesterday brought up the theory of hero ball and the Superman complex that Jalen Hurts has. And I'm surprised at how many people actually see that way. I mean, I see it that way. I never really thought about it. But a lot of Eagles fans out there have seen it and actually have been discussing it. And I've just been missing it. Get rid of it, Eagles, knock it out of the field. Okay, see, I didn't know Man Chatter knew baseball lingo. My apologies. Big boy schedule starts. The big boy schedule of the Eagles is starting this week, without a doubt, with a Washington game mixed in. But it is starting without a shadow of a doubt. My suggestion, use the cheat code. We definitely kept the Jets around for far too long with stall drives on offense. 14-3 and one more score would have put it away. Absolutely. The thing is, we're all trying to find blame, John. We're all trying to find out or figure out who's to blame. Should we blame Brian Johnson and his play calling? Should we blame Jalen Hurts' interceptions, which weren't all his fault? Should we blame, I say, the drops from Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert? Nobody wants to blame them. Based off these poll results, at least. We're all trying to find blame. But we can blame the entire offense. We can blame Brian Johnson's play calling. But Brian Johnson's not the one out there dropping passes. We can blame Jalen Hurts. He's not the one dropping passes. We can blame Jalen Hurts for the interception, for sure. I'll give credit where credit's due. Devontae Smith, 2 big drops. One late in the game. If he makes that last catch that he dropped, that ends the game. Without a doubt. Devontae Smith manned up. He's like, yo, I got to catch the ball. This is on me. And you don't see anybody in that Eagles team or Eagles locker room or office pointing the finger wherever. They're all taking responsibility for the mistakes that were made. Nick Sirianni taking responsibility for not giving Jack Driscoll more help, leaving Jack Driscoll on an island. The Lane Johnson injury, we're going to talk about that too. It doesn't seem like it's as big of a deal. It doesn't seem as serious. It doesn't look like it's a 3-4 week injury like originally thought. There's a chance in my mind, based off of the reports I read from yesterday, we might see Lane Johnson back for Miami, which would be huge because it looked pretty bleak there for a few moments. But throwing Jack Driscoll in there, obviously, I got crushed for saying he shouldn't have even made the team. Obviously, yes, Sunday proves why. He's average at best as a backup. But the loss of Lane Johnson also affected Sua Apeda because he doesn't have Lane Johnson on his side covering his ass. So that whole right side of the line went from Lane Johnson and Cam Jurgens to Sua Peta and Jack Driscoll in the course of a few weeks. That's a problem. And Nick Sirianni took credit, took blame of, you know, why that he didn't give him the help that he needed, and he took the blame for that. It's totally fair to criticize Hurts for his play, but others were bad too. Yeah, I mean, we're talking a different story if one or two things just go a different way. If Jake Elliott doesn't miss that field goal, we win the game potentially. Changes everything. Everything bounced wrong, and that happens. I mean, when we were a Super Bowl team last year, and that loss to Washington was one of those games that we shouldn't have lost. Everything just bounced the wrong way, and Quez Watkins fumbled. I don't need what plays were called and whether Hurts checked out, bowed out of them. Need to see the all 22. Yeah, I heard some things people talking about Hurts checking out of plays, which goes into that theory of Brian Johnson. Now, I'm not going to blame Brian Johnson as much as others for the loss because he's not running the plays. Now, we could blame some of his decision making and his lack of running the football and stuff like that. Sure, but the execution was all the fact that when all right. So I ran two polls on Twitter. There's over 175 votes, and on YouTube there's over 100. There's 111 votes. Out of those 111 YouTube votes, 56% of the people blame Brian Johnson for the loss. At 177 on Twitter, 54% of the people blame Brian Johnson. So there are hundreds of people blaming Brian Johnson solely for the loss. And I don't think Brian Johnson deserves as much of the blame because the plays were called and they just weren't executed. Whether they're the right plays or not is another conversation. But you got to execute, and they did not execute. And you've got an elite team of athletes and superstar talent. You got to execute. Play calling was fine. Play design was garbage. Okay, so there's a difference between play calling and play design, for sure. And I think it was more the execution of the plays. Yeah, you want to see a little bit. You got the number one rushing team in the NFL. You want to see your team run the ball more than, I don't remember the number, 22 out of 70 plays. You definitely want to see the ball run a little bit more, without a doubt. But the execution just wasn't there. I've probably watched a total of 3 games on Eagles Sunday. Critique Hurts' sideline behavior. Does he sit there quietly like Allen, or is he upright? He is a quiet guy, so there are people questioning his personality. He doesn't get all fiery. He doesn't rally everybody up because he never lets his emotions get too high or too low in a game, and I kind of like that. He doesn't let himself get overly worked up about a mistake. He just knows and focuses and stays laser focused so that he knows the next time he's out there, he's not distracted. So you got to like the way he handles things like that. I hope we have our whole defense Sunday night. Michael, yeah, I hope so, and I hope Howie's bringing in extra bodies as we speak. We're so thin in the secondary. We're so thin on defense. The defense is still executing, but yet Howie Roseman. There were reports of 2 people being worked out yesterday, and they were both wide receivers. Go figure. Yeah, you're down Quez Watkins, and Quez Watkins going on IR. I think Quez Watkins, who knows if we even see him in an Eagles uniform again this year. I don't know what's going on with Quez. But, of course, Marcus Callaway, former Saints wide receiver, he was the bigger of the 2 names. I don't even remember the other guy's name that they worked out. But all this thin secondary talk, safety need help. Reed Blankenship might not even be ready for Sunday. Sidney Brown and Justin Evans, who knows when they're going to play again? Who knows? Darius Slay should be back, which would be huge. And yet we're working out wide receivers. It just goes to show it's an offensive-based league, and that's all that they care about. Because honestly, think about it. With all those injuries, the defense still held their own, which give credit to Sean Desai for his scheme and the players out there for executing. How we lose to Zach Wilson. And he said it yesterday, say it again. This is the last day that we're crushing this team for the loss. But you lost to Zach Wilson. You didn't lose to Zach Wilson. We beat ourselves. I firmly believe that that Jets team, 9 times out of 10, loses to the Eagles. We just failed to execute. And we let them hang around. And they got 1 touchdown late in the game because we had to give it to them. Basically, it was just one too many mistakes. Tell me this: if Hurts doesn't throw that late interception and give Zach Wilson that great field position with all that time, to me, there's a chance we stop him. So we didn't lose to Zach Wilson. I got into it on social media yesterday with one of my Fall Nation guys. I don't even know who they are, but I found them. One of them's a customer at the pizza shop. They're from all over. It's a group of people. I don't know. Anyway, telling me he was a Jets fan and telling me that the Jets are Aaron Rodgers away from being the favorite to win the Super. Like if Aaron Rodgers was there, the Jets would be the best team in the NFL. I was like, you're nuts. They're not that good, and Aaron Rodgers isn't that great. But we didn't lose to them. I kept trying to tell them that the Jets didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. And Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson, Tom Brady, whoever, doesn't change that fact. We win that game if we just execute. Eagles versus the Dolphins, worlds collide. The game to end all games and render all previous game pointless. I bet that's a bit excessive, but I get you, my man. I get you. I get it. I get it. Bills' offense has been terrible, but we are fixing everything. We have Fournette coming in. Leonard Fournette's still in the NFL. Who knew? Carter should be back this week. Carter should be back. Slay should be back. But I don't even think them missing the game was the difference between us winning and losing. Yeah, maybe Darius Slay, maybe Garrett Wilson is held a little bit more in check, but that doesn't stop the turnovers. That doesn't stop the poor execution. That doesn't stop the drops. That's the problem. It's that execution, that finer look at the detail. That's the problem. Why do the Bills need for it? I don't know. They don't run the ball anyway. I don't even know what the point of that is. We lost to the Jets defense. The Jets caused all the turnovers with pressure. Dimitri, what's up? Interesting. The way you're phrasing it, that we didn't commit the turnovers, the Jets caused the turnovers. The Dallas Goedert interception, because it really should be counted towards an interception on Dallas Goedert, not Jalen Hurts. I don't blame the Jets defense, or I don't give the Jets defense credit for that. That was clearly bounced off his chest. Yeah, there's contact at the point of the catch, but Dallas Goedert's got to catch that. Now, the one where Jalen Hurts' arm was hit from behind, yes, the Jets got pressure and hit Jalen Hurts. But the problem is the Jets were getting pressure every play. And that's on Brian Johnson calling plays at every single play, 7-step drop, long developing play. If Brian Johnson would have had some more shorter developed plays or some more running plays mixed in, maybe that doesn't happen. So, yes, the Jets defense did play well. Did cause those two Devontae Smith drops that he is owning up to. He was wide open on that second drop. There was no one within 10 yards of him on that second drop. So, yeah, I'm not taking anything away from the Jets defense, but on the flip side of the equation, a little bit better execution from the Eagles, and we're not talking about the Jets defense, and we're not talking about a loss. Phil said you can put some pizzas down and get out. Jets stick. Dolphins fans hype as hell, saying we're going to take over Philly on Twitter. Yeah, there's no way. On the side, this is a great little segue. Just a touch of Phillies into this conversation with the Eagles here. And I got to tell you something. I said something on Twitter. I thought I was going to get crushed for it. I really did. Last night during the Phillies game. Let me tell you something. I firmly believe the Philadelphia Phillies crowd, especially during the playoffs, at Citizens Bank Park, is louder, rowdier, more passionate, and more of a home field advantage help than the Eagles fans at Lincoln Financial Field. Lincoln Financial Field's a home field advantage. Don't get me wrong. We're loud. But something about Citizens Bank Park in Red October, the Eagles fans got nothing on Phillies fans in Red October. Not at all. And I put that out there on Twitter. I thought I was going to get crushed for it. I'm surprised so many people actually agreed with me. There's something about the vibe at Citizens Bank Park, especially in the playoffs or in a playoff hunt. When that crowd is 45,000 plus, I also think it has to do with the way the buildings are built. The link is not really built really well acoustically, so that the noise escapes. The Citizen Bank Park, the noise is kind of trapped in there. But let me tell you something. Citizen Bank Park crowds are greater than Lincoln Financial Field crowds. But on the flip side, to EC1's comment, there ain't no way Eagles fans are going to let the Dolphins fan take over Philly. And it ain't happening. There ain't no way that even has a remote chance of happening. And if Dolphins fans think they are, of course, we're going to see videos all over social media on Monday of Dolphins fans being booed, blaming how bad we are when we're just booing you for being Dolphins fans. But yet at the Bears game, I think it was the Bears game, there was literally a fist fight over the bathroom. But yet, we're the bad fans. I thought we were supposed to move on. I'm saying today is the last day, and then we move on. Tomorrow we'll do power rankings. We'll talk more Phillies. We'll move on tomorrow. Today's your last chance to let off whatever you want to say about this loss. This is it's like Festivus. It's the airing of grievances. If you got anything negative to say about Sunday, this is your last chance because then next week or tomorrow, we're moving right on tomorrow. We're on to Miami. We're on to the Phillies. We're on the power rankings. We're on to positivity. Today's your last chance to air those grievances. When is our starting guard coming back? Cam Jurgens was put on IR. I think he's now missed 2 games, so he's got 2 more weeks. And that's a big deal because Sua Apeda, who we used to call Sewer Apeda all throughout the city, was doing okay with Lane Johnson next to him. But you take Lane Johnson out and you put Jack Driscoll, that whole right side of the line now is a train wreck. And I saw somebody ask one of the big Eagles beat reporters about maybe Tyler Steen at right tackle. You can't do that per se. But maybe you can put Tyler Steen at right guard, which he's used to, and maybe not have Jack Driscoll at right tackle. Maybe that makes a difference. I don't know. And that's if Lane Johnson even misses. If Lane Johnson's injury is as mild as they made it seem yesterday, you damn well know Lane Johnson's going to try to fight through it. It's not his bad ankle that he had problems with a few years ago. It's not a high ankle sprain. I think they called it a lateral sprain. I'm not a doctor. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn, if you want a really relevant joke. So I don't know. But it doesn't sound as serious. You got to think that Lane Johnson is going to try to give it a go on Sunday night. He's not going to miss the primetime game. Jalen Hurts' body language was, I got you. I was thinking Eagles got one. Hurts can't catch all them drop balls. Exactly. But, in this poll, and yes, over 50% in both polls, almost 300 total votes went towards Brian Johnson's play calling, which I think that's a bogus thing. But there's 31% in one poll, 23% in another poll, blaming Jalen Hurts as having hero ball complex. And I think that's something that needs to be discussed. What's up, Eric? Good morning. Yeah, Jurgens is on short-term IR. I think he's got 2 more games that he's got to miss. He's got to miss 4, and he's missed 2 so far. So I would say he's got 2 more games to miss, and then he'll be eligible to come back. The link ain't like the vet in the day. I did get a few responses when I was trying to hype up Citizens Bank Park. Then people were like, "Well, the link was the vet was even better." And I'll be honest, K1. I mean, I went to the vet plenty of times, but a majority of my visits to the vet were for baseball during losing seasons. I was never at the vet during an Eagles game, during a Super Bowl or a playoff run. So I really don't know what it was like with 80,000 fans, going nuts. But yeah, the link is a special stadium. It really is. But the way it was built, acoustically speaking, it's not as loud as it could be. And I don't think the Eagles fans get as much love for it because it doesn't sound as loud as it could be. And it's not to take away from the fans; it's to take away from the stadium. Is what my point of the post was. And I agree that it's not the same. I'm glad we lost because Eagles coaching staff was taking winning for granted, which is starting to trickle down. Maybe, but I really don't think, I think it's definitely a wake up call, and we definitely hear a lot of people saying it's a wake up call because we haven't played well. So let's hope that they really work on the finer points this week. Let's hope they work on the attention to detail this week. Are we bargaining stage of grief? Yes, we're bargaining stage of grief. Absolutely. What's good? Moving toward acceptance. I'm not ready to accept the loss, but I'm over. I'm sort of accepting it or over it, K1, because the Phillies are 1 up in the NLCS right now. Let's be honest. If the Phillies weren't in the playoffs right now, this would be a much more dreadful week of discussion on this show. Because that loss was a tough one to swallow. And there was a lot of finger pointing. But I'm ready to move on. because the Phillies are in the NLCS. I was up till almost 12 o'clock last night. I'm exhausted. I'm going to be up till 12 o'clock tonight. I'm exhausted. Man, chatter, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Um, Thanks for your work with your furry friends. Well, I ain't doing any work with the furry friends. That's all the way because they're shitting and pissing and causing problems everywhere. And bark, you can hear one of them barking in the background, maybe. Um, Yesterday was thanks for the best morning show. Oh, I appreciate that too. You guys are great. I love each and every one of you. All right, let's dive before we get back into the Phillies game and some other fun. I got some other fun little topics, to get into. I got some negative ones. I mean, if you want to talk Sixers, Tyrese Maxey left the game last night with back spasms. That's not something you want to see for the Sixers. The season's less than a week away. We'll get into the Sixers next week, maybe a little bit more detail. But I got some other fun things to discuss, Eagles, Phillies wise. But I want to get into this Jalen Hurts hero ball complex. Does his lack? Oh, let me think. I haven't really thought about how to tackle this. I was about to say something, but let me rephrase it. Give me a second here. 498 to go today. That's right. Um, does his hero ball complex? Where does it come from? I mean, he's got when you see him on the sideline, he makes a mistake. You never see his personality get too high. You never see it get too low. And there's quite a few people that feel he's got this Superman complex. A- And it's definitely a hindrance to him sometimes. I mean, you look at his turnovers and some of his near turnovers because he had a couple interceptions dropped as well. There was one play later in the game he threw into double coverage and it just got dropped by the defender. Um, is there a concern with it? Is there where does it come from? Is it because he's had so much success and he's faced adversity in his life, being benched with injuries and whatnot, with the negative perception of him, but yet he's never really faced much adversity on the field. I mean, he was great at Alabama, he was great at Oklahoma. He took over and not stole, he earned the job away from, a guy that was just given a max contract and was a former almost MVP in Carson Wentz. He's never really faced adversity excessively on the field. So does his hero ball complex come from the fact that he just doesn't think he can ever be beat? Does he need to have more emotion highs and lows to maybe settle that hero ball complex down? Or would that make it even worse? It's something that I really haven't thought a lot about, but I'm willing to dive into it and think deeper into it. Maxie is too young yeah, exactly. Maybe it was just precautionary. That's what some of the reports are coming out. But you don't want the guy that's going to be your second leading scorer on the team. Back issues and hamstring issues in all sports, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, soccer. Those two injuries bother me the most because they're so minor, but they just linger. And they just get worse and worse, or they never get better. Um, Jalen Hurts, oops, yeah, there we go. Jalen Hurts regressing and the start of the Sixers season might be too much for Phillies to carry. I don't want to say. That's something I was told I was wrong when I said Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts might have regressed a little. Some people are saying he regressed back to the form of a rookie, and that's pushing it. Has Jalen Hurts even regressed? And this goes to the Brian Johnson taking the blame, or is there blame on Brian Johnson? He still does not seem comfortable with the play calling that Brian Johnson is making. He doesn't seem comfortable or communicating well. And everybody just assumes that Brian Johnson and him and Jalen Hurts, because they're lifelong friends, are just going to instantly be a great pair. But that's not the case. Sometimes being friends with your boss or your coach is not a good thing. There's less accountability held on both sides in that situation. Maybe Jalen Hurts won't speak up to Brian Johnson as much because he's my buddy. He's my dad's buddy. I've known him since I was in diapers, whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's part of the problem as well, the form of the regressing. The Sixers season, yeah. The Phillies and the Phillies can carry it. Because again, all this Eagles negativity talk, I don't care. Because the Phillies are in the NLCS and up 1-0. Guys, you guys don't truly understand how much baseball brings smiles to my face, especially playoff baseball. We talk football mainly on this show, But you guys don't understand how big baseball is to me. I love baseball. He was benched at halftime of a national championship game. Isn't that adversity? He was benched for 2 of those. Like, it wasn't even like he was playing that well in that game or poorly in that game. Yeah, way too much talking about Eagles while Phillies are in the NLCS. Wheeler was wheeling and dealing, looking like Tom Glavine in '98. And back in '98, even the Braves still weren't selling out their stadium for games then. And I agree. I mean, the Phillies are in the NLCS. Bryce Harper, I put out a tweet last night, Mister. I put out a lot of tweets during Phillies playoff games and during Eagles games as well. If you're not following me on Twitter at Bearded Knowledge during football games and baseball games when I'm live tweeting, you're missing out on a lot of fun. But I put it out there. 50 years from now, God forbid I live 50 more, or God hope I live 50 more years. 50 years from now, I'm going to tell people Bryce Harper played his whole career in Philadelphia. Because I don't even remember a time when Bryce Harper wasn't a Philly anymore. I mean, he's just born and bred to be a Philadelphia Philly. And I don't know if there's ever been a better free agent player signed in Philly, but also there's never been a player brought in that represents the city of Philadelphia quite like Bryce Harper and Jalen Hurts are both great representations of Philly, but in 2 totally different ways. Jalen Hurts does the blue collar, hard work ethic kind of guy, and Bryce Harper's the passion of Philadelphia. It's great. Jets are lucky that they Eagles every 4 years. They're lucky. I don't get that. Explain, Jedi. Give me a little Jedi mind trick there. Hurts isn't regressing; it's part of the progression. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Sometimes you climb up. I mean, it's not his sophomore slump, so to say. That was last year. Was his sophomore year, but sometimes when you climb, and let's be honest, Jalen Hurts climbed at a rate last year that was unheard of. From 21 to 22, the jump he took was unheard of. We all discussed what was a successful season, and a slight regression had to be expected from Jalen Hurts this year. There's no way. Like, everybody's so frustrated, but last year's Eagles team, this year's team might be more talented on paper, but last year's team just was near perfect. A couple mistakes in that Super Bowl, and we're Super Bowl champions. Like, it was that perfect. You had to expect the team to step down, and they're still 5-1. That's the big thing here. Jalen being asked to do more in this offense, changing plays at the line of scrimmage, is such an underrated factor to his regression. Look, it is. And, look, we lost, you know, because of Brian Johnson. We lost because of Jalen Hurts, the drops and whatnot. But I'm going to, Brendan Deeg, my man, he's been on the show before, writes for The Score. Actually, I think he writes for somebody else now. I don't even know. But Brendan Deeg's a great guy, great Eagles reporter. The Eagles lost the turnover differential on Sunday by 4, -4 on turnover differential. Did you know the last 29 teams to have a -4 in turnover differential are 1-28? So I don't care who you're blaming. The turnovers are to blame. And the turnovers are on the play calling's fault, Jalen Hurts' fault, and the drops' fault. All 3 played into the turnovers. So the fact that everyone wants to blame one specific person for the loss, I don't want to hear it. Because everybody is to blame across the board. It's tough because we always associate regression with a work ethic, and that does not add up for Jalen. Yeah, Jalen still puts the work in. I don't think I want to see anybody questioning that because and he puts the work in without a doubt every day, and he's doing the work today. Phillies could get back to the series. Not could, will get back to the series. Let me tell you something. You got to follow me for my betting advice. Smash 2 bets. Had a nice big bet on Bryce Harper hitting a home run last night. Check that off in the first inning. And a big money line bet on the Phillies last night. Check that one off. Nice little profit last night on Phillies baseball betting. That's my point. I don't know what plays are called and what plays Jalen's are checking out of. Yeah, that's deeper than my football knowledge is. But again, like that could definitely go on Brian Johnson, but also it's on Jalen Hurts to maybe Jalen Hurts needs to have a little bit more faith and trust in the play calling, and less opting out. Look, the thing that I concerned me most about the play calling wasn't the play calling. It was the little nitty gritty, like the protections and the blocking schemes and who's calling what at the line of scrimmage because you got a weak right side of your offensive line and you're not doing anything to bolster it or help it. You're not leaving a extra tight end back there. You're not, we saw tight ends helping on the Jordan Mailata side, but not the Jack Driscoll side. So that's what's more concerning on all that. As smart as Johnson is supposed to be, he has too many weapons at his disposal to be focused on two. I saw something interesting about two players on offense. It's not even that. I mean, realistically speaking, if you look at the yardage from A.J. Brown receiving game to everybody else, it's the same. And look, I'm not taking anything away from A.J. Brown, but focusing in on and zoning in on A.J. Brown is making your offense one-dimensional. It's still working to an extent, but then when it doesn't work, it gets worse. You got to keep all these guys in the flow of the game. Yeah, I mean, A.J. Brown's on pace for close to 1,800 receiving yards, which is an insane number. Like, it's time to spread it around and just go with what the offense, it dictates and what the defense dictates, and not just zone in on A.J. Brown. You got to spread that ball around more, without a shadow of a doubt. And I don't know if that's Brian Johnson or if that's Jalen Hurts. I don't know. What's up, Drew? Phillies players have bad games. People are in panic. Exactly. Like, I don't understand why people are in a panic mode. Lost one game. One game. We're 5-1. We're 22-2 in the regular season in the last year and a half under Jalen Hurts. I don't get it. Like, I'm giving you the opportunity to panic one final time. But there's no reason to panic. There isn't. We're 5-1. Yes, we're going up against a tough stretch, but I meant that the Jets play the Eagles every 4 years and that they're lucky. Yeah, I mean, look, that's the first time the Eagles have ever lost to the Jets. So they're lucky they got one win. Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Look, guys, we got 13 likes on YouTube, 5 on Facebook. Let's keep smashing that like button. It's free to do. Likes help the algorithm. Hit that share button, which is right next to the thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. There's 18 people watching right now and only 13 likes. That's not enough, guys. How the top 3 quarterback going to bounce back hungry? It's Tua Mahomes would double his efforts. Exactly. K1 and Kelsey being upset might be because he feels Jalen has checked out of run plays in the red zone. That could be something. There could be something to that. I'm not sure. On a side note, Marshawn with a great little segue. I got a fun little conversation here. Who else is tired of the Rocky music being played? The Rocky, montages being played at sporting events. I am, to an extent. And Marshawn gives me the idea to bring this up right now. Let me tell you something. Last night, they were coming back from a commercial break on the Phillies game last night, and you caught that tail end. You see it it wasn't on the TV screen, but you can see a video screen in the background of the stadium. And it was a video of Jason Kelsey chugging a beer for the fans at Citizens Bank Park last night. Let me tell you something. Jason Kelsey chugging beers is greater than Rocky montages to hype up a Philadelphia sports crowd now. I don't care what crowd it is. Jason Kelsey has supplanted Rocky as the number one hype thing in Philly sports. I'm just going to say it. I'd rather hear Kelsey chugging a beer than Rocky saying, or listen to Adrian going, just win, Rocky. And the bell tolls now. Give me Jason Kelsey chugging a beer without a shadow of a doubt. 10 times better. I would love to know if you guys agree with that one. Calling 45 pass plays made no sense. Absolutely. 45-22. Drew, no doubt that the play calling balance was off and out of whack. And if you know what, you run the ball a little bit more effective, and which is crazy because we didn't even try to run the ball that much. We didn't do it effectively the 22 times we did run the ball. But the Jets have a terrible run defense. So it doesn't make sense. Like, it didn't all court. The Jets defense run-wise is bad. And we don't run the ball. And when we do, it's unsuccessful. You got a secondary of the Jets that was missing, 3 cornerbacks. Terrible. Finally, the Phillies have come back to the series. If you smell what the Phillies... I had to read the whole... Finally, the Phillies have come back to the series. If you smell, not what Phil's cooking, The beard is cooking. That's a really bad Rocky impersonation. I know they have call 2 plays in the huddle for the RPO to work outside of those 2 plays. I'm not sure what else is Jalen's calling. Yeah, we really gotta dive deeper into that because I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I'm not sure either. Like, maybe I'm missing it and I don't see it as much as everybody else. Um, maybe. The thing on everybody's mind, how would Eric fix it? If Gainwell is there for the pass protection, why the hell was he not lining up on Driscoll's side? He was lining up on the other side and giving help on the other side. That's the thing that sours me about Brian. He's supposed to be smart play calling. And that is definitely an issue. Issue. Like between him, where was Jack Stahl? Jack Stahl's here to be a blocking tight end. I didn't see him helping Jack Driscoll once. You can't leave Jack Driscoll on an island and expect it to work. It's a numbers game. If there's more defenders than you can block, then you check out of it and go in the other direction. Yeah, and we're not checking down. But see, the thing is, all this that we're talking about, the play calling changes at the line of scrimmage, the blocking schemes, there is a disconnect. I'm not saying Brian Johnson's not smart. I'm not blaming Jalen Hurts, but the two of them are not on the same page. And we talked about this all offseason. The communication between the two of them was going to be so paramount to this season's success. And we're now 6 weeks into the season, and there's still miscommunication between Hurts and Brian Johnson. You guys will clip the Cowboys too. Look, I'm just going to say, you know, props to the Cowboys. They won on Monday Night Football last night. But can I just say one final time? Well, it won't be the final time. That Justin Herbert is the most overhyped quarterback in the NFL. The dude has zero question. You get the ball back against Dallas with over 2 minutes left, a timeout, and the 2-minute warning, and they don't move the ball an inch. It's sacked, incomplete passes. Yeah, people make excuses. Well, there's injuries, and his offensive line doesn't block. Our offensive line didn't block, but we're blaming Jalen Hurts. But the rest of the league is going to say it's not Justin Herbert's fault that they continually lose in big games. So while I'll give props to the Cowboys for winning on Monday Night Football, we got to for the amount of crushing that goes on about Jalen Hurts. Why does Justin Herbert get no criticism whatsoever? Devontae, Goddard, and Swift are way too good to not be making weekly. They should be making major contributions every single week. But Devontae Smith, look, you can't let him off the hook. Devontae Smith had 2 huge drops on Sunday. His stat line and the results of this game are different. If Devontae Smith doesn't drop those 2 plays, if Dallas Goedert doesn't fumble that pass that results in an interception, different game. DeAndre Swift with a fumble, different game. All 3 of those guys made massive mistakes on Sunday. But we want to talk about play calling. We want to talk about Jalen Hurts regressing. Why can't we put the blame on these 3 guys? Boomers still like it. I know, the Rocky thing. I'm over the Rocky. Give me Jason Kelce chugging a beer. I know we're going to see a lot more Kenny G and Jack Stoll if Lane isn't going. We better. Now, K1, I will say, and I don't know if this is where you're going with this, it's a lot harder to adjust those blocking schemes when you have a game plan on the fly mid-game when Lane Johnson goes down. Having a full week to prepare for it is a totally different story. So they should be better off going into the game on Sunday if Lane doesn't play. I still think Lane Johnson's going to give it 110% to try to go. And if he can stand the pain, he's going to give it a go. It's not as serious as was expected. And I'll take 80% of Lane Johnson over 100% of Jack Driscoll any given Sunday. How crazy to think that Rocky, a fictional sports character, has defined this city after all these years. Well, I think it's time that we stop letting Rocky define the city. Let Bryce Harper, let Jason Kelce, let Jalen Hurts, let them define this city. Give me Jason Kelce all day. Give me Bryce Harper at an Eagles game, hyping up the crowd. He won't chug a beer, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's time to move on from the Rocky montages and move on to the guys that matter. I'm so over it. Core 12, smash that. Absolutely. We're up to 14 likes now. Gotta like more. Gotta get more likes on this video today. Got to. I'm putting in the grind today. Josh Allen eats a bag of gas station gummies before each third game. You could win. That's funny. That's fun. At work now, guys. Much love. I appreciate you checking in at work, Eric. It's therapy. Trending in the AM is the cheapest therapy in the country, man. I get you over all your problems right here. If you got non-sports problems, bring them to the show. I'll be your psychiatrist for your other problems. Look at Phil getting all cringe and embarrassed at Rocky. It's still cool. No, it's not cool. It's not cool anymore. I'm so over it. What's wrong with our offense? Why are we anti-run, top 3 rushing team in the NFL for 3? It's so funny the way you phrase it. We're an anti-run, top 3 run team in the NFL. It's just such a funny way for you to phrase it because it's so true, Travis. And thanks for checking in today, my man. It's so true. Like, why? I saw somebody tweet out, Jeffrey Laurie, but he spelled it Laurie instead of Laurie. Is the one reason why they're passing the ball so much. I still don't buy that theory. It made me laugh though. But you're so right. Like literally, you got the best run blocking offensive line in football. You got a dynamic back in Devontae Smith or Devontae Swift, DeAndre Swift. I'm struggling. DeAndre Swift, and you don't give it to him. He had 10 rushes against a bad rushing defense. It's so frustrating. It's a business. Hurts signed a big contract, and his endorsements, his numbers have to increase. Too many people depending on his production. Yeah, I mean, some people will say all that money is going to his head and all that fame is going to his head. Rocky will always be a thing whether we like it or not. I absolutely agree. It'll always be a thing. But you telling me that Jason Kelsey isn't a better representation, a way to fire up a crowd? I mean, his chugging is the way to keep it going, man. He just fires me up 10 times more than Rocky ever does. And of course, the announcers last night ignore the Kelsey thing, but yet we're hyping up the Rocky music in the background. Brian can't catch the game-winning touchdown. A dime AJ missed. Great point. Another big opportunity. We wasted so many opportunities on Sunday. Not because of Jalen Hurts, not because of Brian Johnson. But those two guys are getting the blame. Also, Jalen losing his ace quarterback coach is Brian. This is interesting. You lost Shane Steichen and Shane Steichen's play calling. Obviously, Shane Steichen's having a pretty solid, run early on, considering his quarterback situation there with the Colts. Brian Johnson was his quarterback coach, and he wasn't calling the plays. He was just coaching up Brian Johnson or Jalen Hurts. Now he's not coaching up Jalen Hurts the way focused in on the quarterback aspect. He's the offense. He's game planning. He's figuring out like there's something to that, Marshawn. There's something to that right there, and that could be part of it. Instead of the voice that's talking and working with Jalen Hurts, he's working with the whole offense. And whoever the new quarterback coach is, it that same relationship. Man, itchy runny nose today. Doesn't that mean I'm going to get into a fight or something like that? Charger's going to Charger. Look, Justin Herbert's going to Justin Herbert. Like, I still can't get over the fact that he blew a 30-point lead at halftime in the playoffs last year. And people still think that Justin Herbert is this great quarterback. And they blame everybody but him. We lose one game in the regular season to the Jets. And everybody's ready to throw Jalen Hurts under the bus. But Justin Herbert loses games nonstop. And he's considered by many as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Get that out of here. Herbert's the second highest paid? I forget. The quarterback contracts keep rolling in every other minute. I don't even know who's the top. Let's be honest. Devontae hasn't been the same since AJ started. I mean, look, you guys are racking in the fair comments today. AJ Brown gets all pissy on the sideline, and now he's on record catching pace. And Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert can't get targets, and DeAndre Swift ain't getting the ball as much. For sure. HC, what's up? Bottom line, if you lose the turnover battle, again, 1-28, the last 29 games where a team lost a turnover battle by 4. When you're a -4 in that turnover differential, 1-28. I mean, and whose fault? Everybody was at fault. Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift. Everybody was at fault for those turnovers, not just Jalen Hurts. And I'm not taking Jalen Hurts off. Jalen Hurts is still to blame. But blame's got to go around to everybody. I had an outburst, knocked over snacks when Devontae Smith huge second drop. That second drop was massive. Massive. Better than AJ, my butt, Liam. Liam. TMC, you get fed every stream. Pipe down. As fans to think we know more than the players and coaches that study the game. It's crazy. That's the charm of Philly fans. We do know more. I know more than everybody. Come on now. I get you. I get what you're saying there. I get it. Give me Joel Embiid first round montage over Rocky. Give me Joel Embiid doing the DX shot over the Rocky. Just win. Just win, Rocky. Yeah, I'm so over Rocky. I don't know why. I'm so over it. Just like I'm over people replaying the Allen Iverson. I said it's practice. We talking about practice. Or what's his name? The Colts coach saying playoffs, playoffs. I'm over all those. They've been overdone. Give me Kelsey chugging beers. Give me Joel B. crotch chop, DX style. Give me Bryce Harper ripping his shirt off Hulk Hogan style. Those things fire me up 10 times more than Rocky ever does anymore. I'm so over it. Will Smith, what's up? I watch every day at work. Good work, bro. Hey, appreciate it, Will. Appreciate it. Love to know that I'm on at work. Love to know people are listening. I greatly appreciate it. K1 Rocky theme. The Rocky theme is so over, man. It's so over. Sorry. Oh, Jada doing Will Smith dirty. Yeah, man. If only that was the real Will Smith, then I would really have something going on. That would be something interesting. Um, Feeling strong now. Also, the defense losing our ace defensive back coach isn't talked about enough. Our quarterback's technique. Well, maybe the techniques haven't been the best, but maybe, Josh Joby or Goodrich or Ringo or Ricks, maybe one of those guys might have developed a little bit better if we didn't lose our defensive backs coach. But it's another thing that's not talked about for sure. Definitely some lack of development from the cornerbacks behind Slay and Bradbury. It's the more you know. Burrow's the highest paid now. Did Burrow sign his? He did? I think so. Look, it's crazy. But yeah, the quarterbacks are all. You think about it. Herbert being the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL, it's ridiculous. He's terrible. Terrible. I got 2 words for you, man, Chatter. I'm just not going to say them. Anybody heard from Tyrone? No, we haven't heard from Tyrone in a few weeks. I know his schedule changes frequently, work-wise. Phil, thanks. It feels like we want to get our stars passing offensive game going, but the run saves us. It's funny. I kind of feel like this team has always had the mentality that the team is above any player's individual stats. Yet since the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts discussion is what we'll call it on the sideline, it's all been about A.J. Brown and not the team. But on the flip side of the equation, Jalen Hurts has confidence in A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith had 2 huge drops. Dallas Goedert has had drops this year, not just on Sunday, but this year. So maybe Jalen Hurts zones in on A.J. Brown because he's just got the most confidence in him. And that's it. But it doesn't stop. Why aren't we running the ball more frequently? Now, it could be into the thing that you guys are talking about, that Jalen's changing the plays at the line of scrimmage. Could be that. He's pulling the ball back too many times in the RPO to throw. Could be that. But when you've got this offensive line and you've got a dynamic running back like DeAndre Swift, I'm feeding DeAndre Swift the ball 18 times a game. I'm feeding Kenneth Gainwell the ball 14 times a game. Every game. Jalen Hurts, I saw some. I didn't write it down. I wish I did. Someone put Travis something on social media yesterday, and I meant to write it down, and I didn't even retweet it because it didn't pop up. But his record when he throws the ball he threw the ball 44, 45 times on Sunday. That he's got like a really awful win-loss record when he throws the ball 40 or more times in his 2 years. He had 2.5 years, almost 3 years of starting quarterback, dating back to when he took over for Carson Wentz. When he throws the ball over 40 times a game, he's got a really awful record. Because Jalen Hurts' success is by that running game setting up the passing game. And the threat of him running, setting up the passing game. And they're not doing it. 300 million Allen starving artist. I don't think he's starving at all. The Chargers Lightning Bolt is powered by 2 AAA batteries. And one of the batteries is used and refurbished. Look, people want to blame a lot of people but Justin Herbert for the Chargers' problems. But I'm just going to tell you, there are a lot of problems in LA, but Justin Herbert is one of the top ones on that list. and he gets no flack for it. And it drives me insane that nobody blames Justin Herbert for any of the problems with LA. None. It's what's his name? Staley, their coach. It's their offensive coordinator. It's the injuries. Either Allen or Williams is always hurt, or Eckler or whatnot, or they don't sign offensive linemen to block. It's never Justin Herbert's fault. We lose one game, and Jalen Hurts, let's throw him under the bus. He's a rookie. He's overpaid. He's terrible. Whatever. And if Jalen Hurts got 10% of the hype that someone like Justin Herbert got, he'd be he'd be the face of the NFL. And again, that goes back to I think he should be the face of the NFL. But the NFL is going to do whatever they can to not let him be the face of the NFL. And I don't know why. Is that real? Yeah, exactly. Devontae has to catch those balls regardless if Jalen stares AJ far too many times. Absolutely. And, Jalen has had a tendency to stare down guys this year a little bit more in the past than in the past. That's a problem. That's where the interceptions are coming from. But Devontae's got to catch it. And again, like I said, you got to give props to Devontae Smith for yesterday or Sunday. I saw the video clip yesterday of him in the locker room saying, "Yo, that's on me. This loss is on me. I caused this loss. I got to catch those balls." I love when I see professional athletes just man up and say, "Yo, it's on me." Not deflecting any blame, not making any excuses, just taking responsibility for their mistakes. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. We're here every single day, 8 a.m., talking all things Philly sports. Right now, heavily Eagles invested. Sixers are right around the corner, and we will be talking a lot of Sixers as well. I think next week's the first game, isn't it? The 23rd or 26th or something? Next week. Maybe next week and a half. Anybody? James Harden get traded yet today? Let me refresh Twitter for a second. I kind of feel like James Harden's going to get traded right in the middle of a show. We're going to be talking about something, and it's going to go down mid-show. And then the show is going to go like 2 hours long as we talk about it. I would say 85% of the people in LA don't even know the Chargers play there. That's probably true. Um, I mean, LA's a terrible sports town. Nobody's actually from LA that's in LA really. They're all people from all over trying to go to Hollywood. You see Dodgers playoff games and they're not full till the fourth or fifth inning. Some of that's the traffic. LA's just a terrible. I wouldn't put it as the worst sports city in the country. Still put that on Atlanta, pro sports city. But LA stinks, man. I wouldn't want to be living out there. That's right. Go Phillies tonight. I think that tonight, Michael, is another Phillies win. I'm going to be smashing the money line today at some point. I'm going to wait to see how the money line fluctuates. I gotta keep pushing on my theory that Aaron Nola is the wild card for the Phillies this year in the playoffs. He's got that big contract coming up, and the better he performs, the more money, the more dollars tacked on. He's already done well the first two rounds in the wild card and the NLDS. He's had two great outings. He's going for a third great outing tonight, and it's so important for him to have a good game. The Diamondbacks are a good, solid team, but they're nowhere near the level and class of the Phillies. They aren't. And I'm very confident the Phillies come out, get a win tonight. Aaron Nola goes another 6 strong innings. The bullpen will stress us out. The offense needs to not let their foot off the pedal because that was a thing last night. The Phillies got 4 quick runs, a 5th run later, and then they just let their offense just stall. They need to keep putting the pressure. Put that pressure on them. When they're up 5-0, go up 7-0. Don't let the foot off. When next Phillies? That's good entertainment. Phillies are on tonight, 8:07 again. Can't wait. Although my body's going to be exhausted again. I'm drinking more coffee than ever before. But yeah. I guess we need to talk baseball at some point. We're mixing it in. I've mixed in some Phillies things here and there. I'm definitely hyped for the Phillies game. Yeah, I mean once it gets to it's hard to talk Phillies baseball all year long. 162 game season. The ins and outs of a baseball season are tough, for sure. But once you get to the NLDS and the NLCS, man, it's exciting, man. No matter what game you're watching in any city, Texas and Houston yesterday, that was a tough game. But man, let me tell you something. Playoff baseball in Philly, nothing like it. Nothing. I haven't been to a Phillies playoff game since 2007. The first game they had at the bank in the playoffs. Cole Hamels went against the Rockies, and I mean, I was like, it was intense, man. Intense, intense. Jalen's strengths are winning football games and not turning the ball over. The latter has been a weakness this year. I'm interested to see how he responds. Exactly. He has turned, and I'm not trying to take and deflect the blame off of Jalen Hurts, but he's got 7 interceptions and what, 1 or 2 fumbles. Some of that is not on him. Some of it's on the receivers. Some of it's on the offensive line. Some of it's on the play calling. Some of it is on him. And I think there's too many people putting too much blame solely on Brian Johnson or solely on Jalen Hurts. It's a team effort right now, the mistakes. LA is a place to become a gangster and a pimp. Love it. Love it. I've actually never, it's one of the few big cities in California I've never been to LA. Zach Wheeler, it's actually spelled with a K. I learned this last night. I've been spelling Zach Wheeler wrong his entire time in Philly. I just have. It's Zack. Didn't know that. None of the spell check warriors on social media have ever called me out for it. I'm very surprised. But he's not. See, that's the thing. And I don't want to get negative about the Phillies, but I am worried as the series goes on, as the World Series approaches. Zach Wheeler, he's not allergic to the 6th inning, but his endurance is going down. I noticed in the 5th inning last night, Marshawn. I don't know if anybody else noticed this. His velocity started to drop in the 5th inning last night. The first inning or two, he was hitting 98, 97, 99 on every fastball. The pitches were moving. You got to the 5th inning, I saw some 94-mile-an-hour fastballs. Now, maybe he's trying to focus in too much on those strikeouts and not pitching to contact and whatever. The bullpen should be able to get 3 innings worth of outs, and he still pitched really well last night. He went 15 straight batters without giving up a hit. But it concerns me as the season goes along, the playoffs go along, that he's starting to wear out. And this was the problem in the World Series last year for Nolan Wheeler. They were burned by the World Series. So it's slightly concerned, right? Only 5 games. Now, it's best of 7 now, or the NLCS is a best of 7. 5 was the NLDS. The more you keep rubbing your head, the more you hair you lose. It's science. I can't help it, man. I was making fun of. Did anybody actually know Zach Wheeler was bald? He's massively bald, and I was making fun of it with a bunch of people. And my wife says, "Well, you're going to go bald if you don't stop making fun of him being bald." But I'm just going to say it. It's weird when you see Zach Wheeler without his hat on because he never does. It's going to be packed down in South Philly tonight. Oh my! I totally forgot. We talked about this yesterday, but I totally forgot about it. I know the Flyers moved their start time, and there's some other sport. I think it's Team Mexico versus Team Germany in a friendly at Lincoln Financial Field. Like, come on. There are going to be 130,000 people just ticketed down there, plus the tailgaters, plus the Xfinity Live people. My God, it's going to be packed down there tonight. No offense. Uh, if somebody gave me free tickets to tonight's game, I would severely consider not going because you're looking at 3 hours to get out of the parking lot tonight after the Phillies game. Um, Not same excitement if 7, not much on the line. Oh, there's plenty on the line. Plenty on the line. Go there to be a Hollywood actor in a Marvel movie, then don't really yeah, exactly. Phil, is that true what K1 said? What did K1 say? Um, yeah, it's true. I'm losing my hair because I rub it so much when I get frustrated on this show. Baseball is a sport where every play is basically the same. Pitcher throws, batter swings. We don't see stolen bases and Ozzie Smith double plays. Everyone, if he missed it, you don't pay attention as much. Steals at a record pace this year. The Phillies, I mean, Trey Turner hasn't gotten caught stealing yet this year. There's a lot more stealing going on. But yeah, it's a very basic sport, but the excitement level ramps up a notch in the playoffs. And it's hard in the regular season. But once you get to these best of series in the playoffs, everything matters so much more. Um, most dudes go bald. Yeah, I mean, I've got more hair than most of my family, except for my brother, who you guys think has great hair on this show. It's genetic, TMC. If your mom's dad was bald, then you're basically screwed. I never met my mom's dad. I don't even remember. I don't even know if he was bald. I know my dad was balding. I know a lot of my brothers are balding. Um, if I grew it out, yeah, you'd still see it. But the receding hairline right here is getting a little thin. Where the spotlight shines, it's getting a little thin. And I'm glad my hairline can entertain you all so much. All right, we'll catch up to the comments in a second. Did not get to do it yet. It's past 9 o'clock yet. At 9 o'clock, I like to do a refresh. So it's 9:05. 25 minutes left in the show. You're watching Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. I am Phil Stiefel. Follow Philadelphia Sports Network. Check out their website, phillysportsnetwork.com. Follow me on all social media platforms at Bearded Knowledge. Hit that like button. 6 likes on Facebook, 15 on YouTube right now. Likes help the algorithm grow. Drop your comments and your thoughts. This is the last time you can bitch and moan about the Eagles losing to the Jets. Tomorrow we move on. We're talking Phillies. We're talking playoffs. We're talking Jason Kelsey is greater than Rocky. We're talking, what was the other one I did? Oh, the Citizen Bank Park is greater than Lincoln Financial Field. We're talking all of it. It's all on the table for the final 25 minutes of the show. But make sure you hit that like button and right back to the comments. Um, Vincent Diesel baldness got the ladies going. Hey, some chicks like bald. I have no problem being balding or bald, whatever. I used to shave my head, so I know my head is a good shape to be, bicked if I had to. Um, it is what it is. It's just too much work to do it all the time. Um, yeah, Phil's hairline is great content. Good hair knowledge going out there. Get out family albums, Phil. I don't got no family albums. Not at all. Not in the least bit. Kyle, what is up, my man? 7 more wins. But I said this, Kyle, at the beginning of the show. I don't like the phrase 7 more wins, and then then we could put a ring on the finger. And I love the ring on the finger thing. I really do love the ring on the finger. Um, from Nick Castellanos. But it's 3 more wins because counting to 7, I think we're jumping ahead. Like, let's just get to the World Series first. So it's 3 more wins, okay? 3 more wins, and then we're back in the World Series, and then we can talk about 4 more wins. I want to break the wins down. 3 more wins, and then set 4 more wins. That is the way I would do it. Ever hear of SMP? My girlfriend can help you out with that hairline. I don't need any help with it. I'm not worried about it. I'm not putting anything on here. I'm not trying to fix that hairline. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. We're not advertising it. I don't know what it is. Um, but I'm not getting nothing done to fix that. It is just perfectly fine. I think it goes well with the beard, even though I trimmed it up a little bit. Only a few of you noticed how much hair was missing down here. Um, Nick, you have hope for all of us men. Maybe. I don't know what it is. But yeah, Kyle, 3 more wins and then 4 more wins. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Scalp micropigmentation. Yeah. Um, sorry. I'll pass on that. I don't even know what it means. I think I know. I think I saw an infomercial once about this kind of stuff. Um, maybe it's somewhere buried in the back of my head, but yeah, no, thanks. Sorry. I appreciate it, but no, I'm good. I'm good with the way I am. Um, like tattoo hair, essentially. But it looks like a buzz cut. I'm good with just getting my regular tattoos on my arms and stuff like that. I noticed when they run Swift is more between the tackles. They need to give him more runs to the outside because he's that quick to get around. I've seen some people compare Michael Swift to um, Le'Veon Bell in the way he waits and finds the holes, lets his blockers get ahead of him. I don't know if it's more in between the tackles or more outside that they need to do. They just need to stay committed to it. You've got a great group of offensive linemen at blocking, and you've got Jack Driscoll and Sewer Opeta out there. And how do you help backup linemen that can't pass protect? You run the ball. And instead, they put these guys that aren't prepared out on an island to pass protect. And that's the problem. So I don't care if it's between the tackles or to the outside. Um, I just want to see a stronger commitment to it. And that's it. I mean, saw what we did weeks 2, 3, and 4 when he was the leading rusher in the NFL, and now he can't get the ball. It just doesn't make sense to me. What do I get for 3 easy payments of $99.95? But call now, and we will waive your first payment, just so you know. Tattoo it of your head, Will. Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't like tattoos on the head. So I'm an arm tattoo guy, and shoulder tattoo, but not arm. I need a head tattoo. I'm not getting a head tattoo. Not at all. Not gonna get eagles tattooed across my forehead. No way. Everyone take a pic of their hairline and send it to the chat before we exactly, Travis. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. I wish you could put pictures in the comments. You can't. But exactly. Everybody's crushing this hairline. It only looks bad because I buzz cut it down to a 1 all the time. That will mess up, my Charging Buffalo logo up there. That's right. Um, when the front line retreats, you're in trouble. The front line is retreat. There ain't no doubt about it. I don't care about my hair anymore when I found out women will overlook a lack of flowing locks for six-pack abs, and they don't even care about the abs, they care about the credit card. Uh, that's all. I'm married, I don't care. It don't matter to me, one bit. Mista has the cheat code. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Mista has a big checking account with an. He's got one of those, Amex Gold cards that have unlimited, funds on it. Whatever it may be, man. The conversation really, really entertaining here at this point. Just watch the algorithm go through the crapper. If the Phillies win, will you get a Phillies tattoo? Well, I already have a Phillies tattoo. I can't. I have long sleeves on today. I got a Phillies logo around what looks like the Liberty Bell. So my father, he worked for Bell Telephone for 24 and a half years before he passed away. And my dad took me to a lot of baseball games, big part of my life. And when he passed away, I knew my first tattoo would be him. And about like 10 years ago, I thought about it. The Bell Telephone, the Bell of Pennsylvania logo is very similar to the Liberty Bell. So I got that tattooed on my arm with the Phillies P in the middle of it in honor of my father. So I already have a Phillies tattoo, but I do want to do another Philly sports tattoo someday, kind of like the Phillies, the Eagles. You've seen the logos of all the teams kind of in one picture. I want to get one of those done sometime because even though we don't talk the Flyers, we still love the Flyers. Maybe the Union get added to it. I don't know if I could ever do a Union tattoo. But I would love a Phillies, Eagles, Sixers logo on my arm. Phillies greater than credit card, greater than abs, greater than hair. Dude, I definitely don't. I have a worse problem with the ab issue than the hair issue right now for sure. Um, without a shadow of a doubt. All right, let's. Flyers have the best logo in my opinion. K1 saying the Flyers logo is pretty. Yeah, I do love the Flyers logo, and it blends really well with the circle in the middle. You put the Sixers logo. You can turn the side of the Flyers logo into the Eagles wings. You can mix the P in there. It's something I've been thinking about. I would love to get a tattoo like that someday. I've got so many tattoos I want. Problem is tattoos are so expensive. And when you have a really great tattoo artist like I do that charges a lot, you don't want to venture away because you know he does great work. You just got to save. It's been far too. It's been like 2 years since I got my piano keys on my arm. What I got? One, two, three. I got four tattoos right now. Definitely time for a fifth. Um, anyway, what do we got? We got 15 minutes left in the show. Um, we've talked on Lane Johnson. We've talked on this Eagles team and who to blame and not to blame. I almost feel like it's time to start turning the page already. I said you could have all day today to complain, to moan and groan. But I almost feel like these last 15 minutes, it's time to keep positive with the Phillies and look at some of the positives with the Eagles. And again, as much crap as we're giving Brian Johnson, has enough credit been given to Sean Desai to think about the fact and the injuries that Sean Desai has had to deal with on the defense? The type of players that they've got to roll out there in the secondary, the lack of depth in the secondary, and to still be the least biggest of a think about it. That the Eagles are bringing in wide receivers, not cornerbacks, on the first day of practice this week to work out, not secondary help. The Eagles defense is surviving, and I think it's credit to Sean Desai and what he is doing. And we talk about how much he doesn't press at the line of scrimmage. We talk about whether he blitzes at the right time or not. I'll tell you something, this defense is clicking on all cylinders right now. And this week, they were missing Jalen Carter, their best defensive lineman. Yes, their best defensive lineman. And mad props to Jordan Davis. Did anybody notice he played almost 70% of the snaps this past week? And he was involved in a lot of plays. I know he only had like two or three tackles on the box score, but he was massively involved in the defense. A great ink artist is like a great masseuse. If you find a good one, you just don't exactly, without a doubt. I can't get Kurt Angle them out of my head. The Sixers AI uniform years with the black, red, white, and the ball and out. But but they changed it, so I went with Heat as my favorite. Um, I don't know if I like those black AI Sixers jerseys or not. I like the basic Sixers jerseys, the way they are right now. They added a little red to the around the numbers this year. Not really a fan of it, but these blues that I got here and there, um, I like them. I love the Sixers, Spectrum jerseys. I got one hanging, but it's hidden because it's got James Harden's name on it. I can't be promoting that. Jordan Davis is a stud, absolutely. Absolutely, Jordan Davis is a stud. And he proved on Sunday that he is more than capable of playing more than 35-40% of snaps. And it wasn't like he struggled in the end of the game because he was tired. Jordan Davis could do it. And I don't think enough credit's been given to Milton Williams. Milton Williams has played well the last 2 weeks as well. Um, Without a doubt. Getting pressure on Tua is absolutely key. We're already ready to move on. We're not waiting until tomorrow to move on to Miami. Getting pressure every single week is key. When you've got a secondary is banged up. But on the flip side, we worry about the secondary and how banged up they are. But yet, they're still holding most players in check. So it's got to be some credit given to Sean Desai for how he's managed to hold with duct tape, super glue, gorilla glue, you know, and some knitting, material holding this secondary together. You need Jeremy Chin. I know. I know. We need somebody. But yet, Howie's still focused on what? Wide receiver. Because he sees Sean Desai holding this together, which is kind of crazy. How much of a traffic nightmare? Traffic's going to be. I said it earlier in the show, Kyle. If somebody went like, here's 2 free tickets to the night's Phillies game, I'd take them and I'd probably put them up and sell them. Because I wouldn't want to fight that traffic nightmare. I mean, it's going to be a disaster up there tonight in South Philly. Um, it's scary. Our defense with a bunch of load of injuries is number one, but our offense, when we lose, pave the lane. So interesting. So interesting. Our offense is loaded. You lose Lane Johnson, done. I don't think enough. Every Eagles fan knows Lane Johnson is the GOAT. Is the best right tackle in football, or at least we think it. But I don't think enough goes into discussing, you know, discussing how big Lane Johnson really is. Really. Like, without a doubt. Like, I mean, their record when he's not out there, it's insane. He does not have a high ankle sprain. It was reported that it's a lateral sprain, and I'm not a doctor, but it's not as bad. Not as bad at all. I'm not going down there to do a live traffic stream, but you will see it on the news. There is going to be a lot of traffic down there tonight. A lot. 130,000 fans with tickets, plus tailgaters, plus employees and personnel, plus the people at the Xfinity Live. We need more quick timing passes left. Well, yeah, and this is the only part of Sunday's loss that I really, one of the 2 things I only put on Brian Johnson is the fact that he chose not to run the ball. But when he chose not to run the ball, every pass play was 5 to 7 set drops. If you're not going to commit to the run when you have your offensive line on the right side in shambles, then you got to have quick passes. 1, 2, 3, boom. I called it out on Sunday. I'm like, let's see some more of the old school West Coast offense. 1, 2, 3, boom. You don't see it. That was to me almost more of a problem than the lack of the running game. Because those short, quick passes are just like running. It's no different than a running play. You gain 7 yards, it's just like a run on first down. But every single play, you're dropping back 7, waiting for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith to get 30 yards downfield before you throw the ball. Long developing routes, long developing plays. It's a problem. And we don't need it. We don't need that anymore. Or we don't need it right now. You're always going to have A.J. Brown over the top and Devontae Smith open over the top. You're always going to have that play there. You don't need to keep running it when your offensive line is as banged up as it is right now, without a doubt. 6 weeks in, and we haven't seen Brian Johnson make any improvements. Absolutely. So Kyle, I think this is something interesting here because everybody's calling for the Eagles to fire Brian Johnson already. Look, Brian Johnson ain't getting fired, guys. There's no doubt Brian Johnson is here for the duration of this season. No way that he gets fired. But the Eagles could do one of two things. The Eagles could take play calling duties away from him. You give it to your quarterback coach. Nick Sirianni could take it over. I know he doesn't like to, but he could. Or you can go out there and you can go find a veteran head coach, a guy that's been around the league a long time, that's got a lot of experience, and bring him in as an offensive consultant or an offensive assistant and just give Brian Johnson some help. There have been times I don't even remember who the offensive coordinator was. It was like the 40th time that Marty Morningwig was brought back, but our play calling had stalled. They brought him in to help, and it did help. He didn't even stay on the sideline. He stayed up in the booth. So there's got to be something done to help Brian Johnson along. And Nick Sirianni said something really dumb yesterday in his presser that I just didn't understand. That it's not Brian Johnson's fault, it's his fault. Because he designs the plays, Brian Johnson just calls what he designs. So hold on a second. You design the play and have somebody else pick which ones to use. That doesn't make sense to me. Like it seems weird. Seems like Nick Sirianni was trying to take some of the blame off of Brian Johnson, but it just didn't come across the right way, the way he phrased it. You can't tell me you can't scheme our skill players into favorable situations with click slants and crossing routes. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't tell me that. AJ Brown is strong enough to go on a seven-yard slant and catch a quick pass. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to break the first tackle. Devontae Smith is going to run a quick out pattern, 5-yard out pattern. He's going to catch the ball, and he's going to put a juke on the defensive back most times. It really comes down to Brian Johnson, Miss Brian Johnson, because the rest who did the best last year are still here. It is the main thing that's different from last year. I mean, that and Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift. But, yeah. If the fans think you're going to run the wing T offense like the Army-Navy game in the NFL, it's just not going to work. We're not asking for the wing T. Is that even what it's called? I don't even know. But I know what you're talking about. I don't know. But you still got to run the ball. You've got a dynamic running back with a run-blocking offensive line that's unmatched in the NFL. And you ran the ball 10 times with DeAndre Swift on Sunday. It's not good. There's got to be a better balance. There's got to be something to that. It's got to happen. Sorry. It's a pass-happy league. Jeffrey Lurie loves a pass-happy offense. I don't care. When we were at our most peak, weeks 2 through 4, we were running the ball effectively every single down. And that set up the passing game. But again, Brian Johnson is not getting fired. There's no way they would fire their offensive coordinator. Their young offensive coordinator that was talked about in head coaching interviews last offseason, that he was a prime candidate to be a head coach because of what he did with Jalen Hurts. You're not just going to fire him. But you could give him help. You could bring in help. You could take some of his duties away from him. It's been done before where the quarterback coach takes over play calling. I don't even know who our quarterback coach is off the top of my head. Is Polino? I think that's his name. He's one of the offensive assistants. I don't know if he's the quarterback coach or something else. Somebody else might need to take over play calling duty, even for a few weeks, just to give Brian Johnson a chance to step back and see what he was doing wrong. Or, like I said, an assistant, an extra guy there as a consultant. It can be done. Do we really buy this narrative that Lurie is calling Sirianni? No, I don't buy it. No. Do we buy the scenario that, K1, we'll backtrack. I don't buy that he's calling Sirianni and say, pass the ball more. But do we buy the scenario that way back in the day that after we beat the Packers by running the ball excessively that Doug Peterson was called into the office like a principal calling a student into the office and said, "Why did you pass the ball or run the ball so much? We want this to be a passing team." Because if you buy that, then you have to buy the fact that there's a narrative too that they want them to pass the ball more. But, you know, they're not like calling on the sideline saying pass it more. Alec Tanny, he's our quarterback coach. Who's Polina or Polini? I just that name popped into my head. But okay, Alec Tanny, I've heard that name as well. Not saying you buy it, but I'm hearing. Yeah, no, I know, and I've seen those posts too. But there is something to the fact that maybe, maybe Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have more of an impact than we think. I mean, remember, think about it. The rumor is Doug Peterson was crushed for passing the or running the ball too much in a win against the Packers years back. So just think about that for a minute. My bet is on BJ coordinator lose his job because you have all the talent without the success. Automatic. Defensive coordinator Juan Castillo. Defensive coordinator Juan. That's still got to be one of the craziest things that ever happened in the history of the Eagles. Taking a great offensive line coach and making them a defensive coordinator because, well, he sits in on some of those defensive meetings sometimes. I mean, talk about arrogance from Andy Reid doing that, man. It's got to be one of the craziest things in history lore. Cough, cough. Dan Cilio. Still, right here. Anytime you want to be here, Dan Cilio, to spew your nonsense so I can shut you down. The door is open for a debate. Always. He's a troll on Jacob Media. He's a Jacob Media troll for sure. Don't even tell Mad Chatter where to find him. We don't need Mad Chatter watching him. We don't. Unless Mad Chatter is going to go into his comments and say, "You better watch out for me." Lurie said multiple times that he only hires offensive-minded head coaches because throwing is the franchise identity. Defensive head coaches tend to run more to control time of possession. Absolutely. So there is more influence than people want to give credit for to Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, what their imprint is on what's going on. Yeah, too many comments about Dan Cilio, promoting Dan Cilio. Kevin Petula, passing game coordinator. Okay, so he's the passing game coordinator. So maybe he calls plays. Maybe Jeffrey Lurie or Howie Roseman. Maybe Nick Sirianni goes to Brian Johnson and says, first half is yours, second half is Polina or Petula. Or vice versa. Petula gets the first half. And Brian Johnson gets the second. I don't know. Maybe there's got to be something there. I don't know. Gives Brian Johnson a chance to step back. But you're not going to fire your brand new offensive coordinator who was instrumental in the development of Jalen Hurts as a quarterback's coach 6 games into a season. And there are fans out there and media members out there calling for Brian Johnson to be fired already. And it's insane. All right, we got to catch up on the comments and we got to wrap this show up. We're 2 minutes left in the show. Don't give TMC. It's bad for you. Yeah, don't do it. Don't go unless you're gonna go just spam my stuff in the comments. Don't do it. Phillies Diamondbacks tonight 8:07. Phillies get the win tonight. I'm saying last night they won 5-3. Tonight they don't take their foot off the pedal as much. I'm going 7-2. The Phillies win tonight. Lock it up. Pound that money line if you want to place the bet. I don't know. I called a Bryce Harper home run last night. I haven't really looked at the pitching matchup tonight. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll put out my home run hitters for betting tonight on Twitter at Bearded Knowledge. Someone needs to sneak in the meeting room on our offense to find out. Yeah, for sure. Make sure you hit the like button, guys. We're only at 17 likes on YouTube, only 7 on Facebook. Likes help. I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to Mad Chatter for the super chat donation today. Greatly appreciate it. We got to wrap it up today, though. Got to. Only coach should be fires is the fraud Belichick. Oh, my God. That's not the way. Someone put a better comment in the comment section. Got to have something better than that to end the show on, without a doubt. But anyway, everybody have a great day. Thank you for tuning in to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. Can I get a few ring the bells? EING. I don't even know. I think that might supposed to be something else. But yeah. We're gonna wrap it up there. Ring the bell. My scalp is sensational. Absolutely. Ring that bell. That is the way we end the show for sure. For Philadelphia Sports Network, I'm Phil Stiefel. See you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Yo, ring that bell.